Hey guys, it's Leslie, and I'm going to be sharing today our video for the month of March, and it is about our topic of expectations. This month, I am sharing this video about expectations of ourselves. It's interesting that this topic is coming up for the month of March because it does relate to the reason why I am posting this video here almost at the end of March. So there's lots of things that we need to look at, I need to look at when it comes to expectations for ourselves, how those were even developed within ourselves, and then how they affect our everyday lives, our relationships, and the things that we are able to accomplish, and how we look at the things that we do accomplish or do not accomplish. So I do thank you for joining me today, and let's go ahead and get right into it. So if you've already seen our video from January that had to do with expectations and friendships, you know we talked about the relationships that we have with friends and some of the things that can be challenging within our relationships. And we explored how we respond to those challenges and unmet expectations within our friendships. And if you remember, we talked a lot about the reasons why we may choose to respond in a number of ways to those disappointments. And some of those reasons were based on ourselves as individuals and how we have come to develop expectations of others. So we're going to dive in now to talk a lot about our own expectations of ourselves and how that can how that can spill over into our relationships with other people. So what I would like to do is ask you to look back at the beginning of your life. So when you were a child, your earliest memory of having a hope and a dream, things that you looked forward to doing, things that were instilled in you that you were told that you can do, things that you were going to be good at, things that you were good at as a child. And think about what some of those things were and how they made you feel and what kind of hope you had based on those things. What kind of dreams and aspirations did you set for yourself as it relates to those things? Then I also want you to think about what your image was of yourself as a child. Your earliest memories. Did you have some times where you remember looking at yourself or listening to yourself and feeling like, wow, I am so cool, or I am so great at this particular skill? Did you have people who told you that you're really good at this? You look really nice. You have great hair. You have beautiful eyes. Look how strong you are. Did you have do you have memories of those types of things being said to you as a child? And do you remember ever having those images changed in your life? I definitely remember being a little girl, and I was the youngest of four girls. And I remember being the little sister. You know, I have five children now, and I look at pictures. My daughter just celebrated her 16th birthday, and my baby girl, who's 5, was in the pictures. So you have all these teenagers, and then my 11-year-old, my preteen, was in the pictures with the girls. And then you had this little bitty girl, 5 years old, just kind of trying to hang around in the mix. Well, whenever you have that dynamic, you're going to have a couple of the older girls who are looking at the little one saying, oh, she's so cute. Oh, look at her smile, you know, different things like that. I remember being that little girl, hanging out with my bigger sisters or my bigger cousins and having people say things about me that were positive to me, that built me up. Do you have any of those memories? Some of us do, some of us don't. That is one significant memory that I do have. Now, you may think, wow, having a memory like that must have built up this great amount of confidence. It must have done wonders for the way that you looked at yourself and the way that you were able to accomplish things or establish a good body image. Well, that's what I want to talk about today. So let's go back. We talked about, number one, the hopes and the dreams that we established when we were younger, whatever age that was. It could have been 3, it could have been 5, it could have been 10 years old. Then we talk about the image that we had of ourselves. Maybe it started out as positive, maybe it started out as negative, but I want you to look back at what point in your life did you have those positive hopes and dreams? At what point in your life did you have that positive self-image? Whether you struggled with it later in life or not, I believe that most of us had at least one point in our lives where we had a very positive image, and then we had very positive dreams, hopes, aspirations, and goals for ourselves. But as we know, we have an enemy. Those of us who are believers, who are Christians, we have an enemy in this world who wants to attack any good thing that the Lord would allow to be placed in our lives, or any good thing that someone would say to us or instill in us. The enemy is ready to defy and defeat that thing that was positive in our minds and turn it around to become a negative. So if you have hopes and you have dreams, the enemy wants to tell us that you're not going to accomplish that thing. You're never going to amount to that particular thing that you wanted to do. I hear people say that there were teachers or there were a bully that was in their class, things like that, who said, you're never going to amount to anything. Well, it's not always a teacher or a bully in the class that tells us that. Sometimes it's just our own mind that tells us, no, you're not going to achieve that thing because too much time has passed, or you just don't have what it takes, or you tried it and you failed, right? So I want you to think about some of those things again that were positive hopes and dreams, and then what was it that, what thought came into your mind, what event happened, or what person said something to you that affected that positive dream or goal that you had. And then look at your image. Look at some point in your life where you looked at yourself or someone told you that you were awesome, that you were incredible, that you were beautiful, that you were strong. And then at some point later, someone else challenged that thing, either through the enemy challenged you in your mind about it, or some other person told you, no, you're weak. Or they said, you sound awful. There may have been even a situation where you thought this person said this about you, but you never actually heard them say it. You just saw someone chattering and you assume that they must have been saying something negative about you, right? Or you see someone whispering or they're giving a certain look to you and you believe, well, they must be talking about me. All those things affect our image. All those things can affect our esteem, our conscience, right? So we have to look at all those things, and we're going somewhere with this. So these things began to happen in our early years. And if we're not careful what we do with those things, those negative challenges that affect our dreams, our hopes, and our image of ourselves, then we can get stuck in a place where we're not achieving the things that God wants us to achieve. They can also begin to torment our minds so much that it affects the relationships that we have with other people in our lives. So we want to talk about that today. So from a very young age, we are usually able to look at a child or a preteen or even when it comes to adults, we're able to see a couple different extremes that a person may lean toward. I'm not labeling, I'm not saying that everyone fits into these boxes, but there are a couple of extremes that usually stand out at different points in your life or different points of your day or different seasons, right?